George Kilpatrick, inspiration for the nation, celebrating people we feel good about. Well, we got a brother here we feel good about. Satie Gossett is in the house. He's a filmmaker in his own right, producer, writer, voiceover artist. He's doing all kinds of good things. Award winning. He's getting paper as well. Son of Louis Gossett Jr., who we had on the show some time back. And during that interview, he said, no, I think we have something in common because I went to Syracuse. And he said, yeah, my son goes to Syracuse. And, so I said, wait a minute. And this is how we connected. So, Seti, first of all, thank you. Now, might I say your name right?
Yeah, Satie.
Satie, yes. So, first of all, welcome to the program. And I also want to first of all, we want to send our condolences to you on the loss of your father, Louis Gossett Jr., someone who literally we grew up with, right? Starting way back, So, so let me just start with that.
Well, just thank you for the well wishes, and the response to his passing has been overwhelming. It's crazy. It's like I want to send him a phone bill because my phone's been ringing off the hook. And it was interesting because in the last few years of his life, last year, and I'd be with him in the private moments. He'd be like, I don't know. It was like this weird kind of. Remember Scarface when he's sitting at the table and he's like, "Is this it? This is what I work for, and this is all I got to show for it." So he was like in a really kind of solemn place, and I can hope that he can see from heaven the love and support that people have been coming forth to pay their respects and give him his flowers. I hope he can see that from the pearly gates, because it's the exact opposite of what his sentiment was. The people from every walk of life, every corner of the globe have said their piece about how he changed their life, how he affected them. One of the things I learned early on, that he wasn't just my father, but he was the father to everybody. So I had to share. It was a timeshare sometimes.
When as you grew up, how did you come to grips with that as someone who is, shared with millions, Academy Oscar winner, Louis Gossett Jr.?
Well, I don't know if you ever come to grips with it. You just kind of have to just accept it, and you're like, okay, this is what it is, and like my normal was like having Muhammad Ali come over and Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye come over to hang out. That was my normal,
Right.
going to Laker games and meeting Mandela and doing this, that, and the other thing. So that was my normal. So, materially, it was great, but sometimes, pops is off working and he'd be gone, or sometimes I'll go with him. So that's just the way I grew up. So, and then I would see my friends and their dads had regular jobs, and part of me is like, oh, sometimes I kind of wish I had that, just stay at home dad. But then there's the other side of it where you get to see people from all different walks of life all over the world, celebrities, and kind of see behind the curtain. So there's that side too. So all of those factors kind of made me who I am today. So I really don't begrudge any of it.
What were some of the lessons that you take with you in terms of what Dad left you?
I think the number one lesson is that he treated everybody the same, from the doorman to the head of state. He always had a smile, always had a joke to tell somebody. I remember one school of thought, he's like, every hand I shake, that's 10 extra tickets. So someone's going to spend to see my pictures. So I make sure to shake as many hands as possible.
I appreciate that. Um, obviously, I remember starting with Roots. I mean, that's not when he started, but that's sort of, a role that many of us came to know of his work. And obviously, many films later. Um, did he talk about what film had the most impact on his life?
Well, obviously Roots.
Yeah.
Enemy Mine was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Officer and a Gentleman. Films like The Bush Baby, where he went to Africa for the first time and he got a larger worldview of the world as opposed to like, because if you're in America, you only see America, but if you go outside and you experience other cultures. Sadat, when he played Anwar Sadat, he was kind of handpicked
Yes.
to play Sadat. By Sadat's wife, and because of that role, he was embraced by Jews and people of Arabic descent. What else? He did a movie called Inside, and it was the first movie produced in Free South Africa.
Mm.
So he got to spend some time with Mandela and Desmond Tutu and Dali Tambo, and that specific time frame really kind of helped mold his worldview because he was in a, I don't want to say a dark place, but it was just like Hollywood is like, what have you done for me lately type thing.
Yeah.
And then he met Mandela, and his thing was, well, if this man can be in jail for 27 years and come out with a smile, what am I complaining about?
Yeah, and in fact, the interview, and I should send you the interview if you haven't seen it. In the interview, in his memoir, he talks about the dark place and the struggle, that he had with certain addictions and things of that nature, and he talked about obviously his family and things of that nature, and so yeah, Hollywood can eat you up, right? But it also, in his case, can also be redeeming, if you will. And do you agree with
Yeah,
that?
I would say so. And Hollywood is such a fickle beast.
Well, true. Yeah.
And then, if you place all your cards in Hollywood fulfilling you, you will oftentimes become disappointed. And I think he went through that, like he went to the mountaintop and he didn't get his flowers as one would think
Right, right.
for
Like
for a
after the
myriad.
Academy Award, right?
Yeah, he won the Academy Award, but then he didn't work for 2 years
Right.
because they didn't know what to do with him. He wanted to do black themed projects. They didn't know what to do with him, so he spoke up, and Hollywood said next. Who's the next black person to fill your shoes since you don't want to cooperate? And that's a bitter pill to swallow.
And what did cooperate mean then, Seti?
Cooperate basically means play the subservient roles, take less money, um, know your role, know your place, that type of thing.
What was that character's name in Miss Daisy? I can't
I
think
don't
of it.
remember his name, but I know who you talk about.
Yeah, yeah, but so right, be that
Like he
person.
was he was offered that role.
Hmm. Yeah.
He was offered a ton of roles that he had turned down because of the context of the character he felt wasn't a good image of African Americans. Like,
Hmm.
like he'd flirted with the Sam Jackson part in Pulp Fiction.
Mm.
Wouldn't do that. Silent. He was up for Silence of the Lambs.
Wow.
Um, but the NAACP didn't want cannibals, black people portraying cannibals.
Mm.
Um,
And of course, Anthony
he's
Hopkins. The rest is
he
history.
does it and he knocks it out of the park. You know, and there's some other roles that he lost because of the same type of thing because he was at all times aware of who he was representing to all folks, and it was up to him. He took on that responsibility for better for worse. Now, I mean, some say his career suffered because of that. Maybe, maybe not, but he was very aware of, our people are watching us, and I have to set the example. And it takes a lot of moxie to hold that place because he lost out on a lot of money too,
Mm.
and like a lot of relationships were frayed because of his stance. So
Talking with Satie Gossett. He is the son of Louis Gossett Jr., but also a filmmaker in his own right. So let's talk about the Syracuse connection. So
when did you graduate?
I graduated in '81, way before you.
Oh,
so tell me how you chose Syracuse.
I chose Syracuse because the Newhouse, the
Newhouse,
Newhouse,
of course, right?
and it's funny. I after I graduated high school out here, I went to like a college counselor and they said, well, you should do a postgraduate year at a prep school, you know, figure stuff out. And so I went to Phillips Andover in Boston. And then, looking up communication schools and Syracuse, because they the sports and stuff and visited and it seemed like a good fit. And so I ended up at Syracuse.
And what year you graduated? 97?
Yeah, 97.
97, and from Newhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your experience like here?
My experience was fun. I mean, once I got over the snow, it was cool.
Coming from California, right?
Coming from California, that was the number one question. Why you come here? They're looking at me like I was an alien. Why'd you come here? It's like you could have went to SC and UCLA. It's like, oh, I wanted to see the other half. And I had tried out for the basketball team for like 3 years, and I made it to the final cut every time. Then they bring on this little Caucasian kid whose dad was a friend of the program. I'm like, okay. But they used me in the practices and stuff, so I was like an unofficial member. It was like when John Wallace and Moten and Red Autry was there, and Otis Hill and Lazarus Sims. So it was a fun experience.
Have you talked with Red at all since he got the job?
No, he tell him to call me. I tried to call him once, but he's on some pay you no mind stuff. I heard from John when my dad passed. God bless John Wallace, and I'm friends with like Otis and Lawrence on Facebook. So once in a while they'll pop in.
Yeah, John. I had John on. He was doing some work for an event in Syracuse. We have the Winter Fair. Did you ever go to the fair while you was here? While you were here?
The state fair?
Yeah.
I've been to the state fair, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
So you graduated from Newhouse. Did you pledge at all while you were here?
I did not, because I saw the last brother I knew that pledged, they busted his spleen. I'm like, I can't do that, bro.
I hope I ain't gonna. I'll ask you off camera what frat that was if you remember.
I can. It's a letter in the alphabet. I'll just put it that way. Yeah. I mean, between that, I mean, both sides approached me. They approached me, and then on the Caucasian guys, their dudes were getting alcohol poisoning and stuff. I was like, that doesn't look like much fun. So
you didn't do that. So tell me about your work and what you're up to, and the films that you're making.
I made mostly shorts. We're actually I've produced a feature or two. We're actually concurrently with what was happening with Dad. Like 6 months ago, we started putting together the pieces for a documentary about his working life and career. The tentative title is For What It's Worth.
Mm.
Steve Harvey is attached to executive produce, and we got people like Chris Tucker and Donald Bogle, LeVar, Taylor Hackford. People like that are already on board, ready to participate. So we're doing the money shuffle.
And obviously you're one of the executive producers, right?
Yeah, definitely executive producer. My dad wanted me to direct. I was talking to him in his last days, and we had approached some other people, and they had passed. And he's like, you should just direct it. And so I want to stick to those guns of his wishes.
Do you have like, did you collect footage or get conversation with him towards the end of his life to use? And I don't mean that forgive me if that sounds like it sounds, but
no, I mean, it's always the filmmaker. I always got to capture some stuff, but I'll keep it to myself and see where it's appropriate to use it.
I got you. Right.
Yeah.
Because you want to first and foremost honor his work, essentially.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know if you've seen Robert Downey Jr.'s documentary with his dad called Senior.
Mm.
It's on Netflix, and in his dad's last days, he was recording them and stuff like that. And so, although it may feel intrusive to some, there's an intimacy too that you don't really see. So, where appropriate, I think we'll be able to use it.
The other piece of that is it's also who you get, and I guess I was asking the question, but if he was on board and you were having conversations with him about doing a documentary on his life, obviously as you're talking to him, you want to get some information. You want to get. I would think you would if you and he are in agreement. You're gathering information that can be used for for posterity. I mean, I'm thinking about it this way, right? I have a family member, our matriarch of our family, and I want to get her on tape talking about the family, so I'll have that forever because otherwise we will lose some very treasured histories that we have the opportunity to collect, and I think of it in that sort of vein.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, but Seti, when you think about following in the legacy or your charting your own course, how do you see the work you're doing, and how do you want to be uh, remembered for what you're contributing to
Well,
this
I mean,
world?
obviously, to follow in his footsteps, you can't look at it in that context because those are kind of impossible shoes to fill.
Yeah.
All you can do is do the best you can and stay true to what I want to do as a filmmaker. I have different sensibilities and he does, and some are the same.
Hmm.
And just do good work with good people, and continue to build a career as a filmmaker. And I'm not responsible for the results.
um, Back to Syracuse for a minute. What's your favorite Syracuse memory?
Favorite Syracuse memory? Probably when we went to the finals in '96
Hmm.
against Kentucky. I think the whole campus just went crazy.
I
That
was at where was I think I was at someplace. Was it the Dome? We was because there was I was at a place where we were all watching that game. It might have been the Dome, if I'm not mistaken. We
yeah.
lost, obviously. That
I think
that
we beat Mississippi State to get to the finals or something like that.
whatever we
And
did, I don't remember. I
but
just remember
the
I
campus
just
went
remember
crazy. People
losing to Kentucky until Carmelo redeemed us some years later
it
in
did,
2003.
and we only lost by 9 in the final, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But I just remember the unity of the campus. That people were flooding the streets and Marshall Street and Crowd Street there, and people were up on shoulders, people were chanting in unison, and it's just like, okay, this is what college is all about.
Well, have you been back?
I went back once, like over 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and half the buildings look like airport terminals now.
You wouldn't recognize it even
Like
now.
it's like Newhouse 3, 4. I was like, oh man, so they're going crazy. Okay.
Oh no, you wouldn't recognize today. You
Uh-huh.
wouldn't recognize it. There's everything you probably um everything you probably remember from 10 years ago is probably different now. Lots of high rises. Lots of
Yeah,
high
lots of
rises.
high rises, a lot of glass buildings.
Yeah.
M
It's
Street is not even a street. You can walk on it now, and
right.
there's no McDonald's there.
Nope.
Um, Olive and Orange isn't there. Darwin's isn't there. Chuck's is like a 3-level sports bar now.
But you know what is there?
What?
Varsity.
Yeah, varsities ain't going nowhere.
They had a feature on the woman, I can't think of her name, who was making pizza when I was a freshman.
I saw that. She's been there for like over 40 something years. It was crazy
Yes.
to me.
You
I
saw
remember
that clip?
I saw that piece. And I remember Archie's. I don't know if Archie was there when you were there on the corner. It's like a Starbucks now.
Yeah, and that's gone too.
44th is gone. The Fagans is still there.
Fagans is still there. I remember when Fagans was started.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, there used to be my favorite thing, one of my favorite things that isn't at Syracuse anymore is a place called Zorbas. And he used to have the best subs. It was a pizza place right around the corner from Fagans. It's not even
Not there
anything
anymore.
anymore. And I'm not sure because CVS or whatever it is over there now. But that was one of my favorite places. And he would make the subs and then he would toast them with mozzarella cheese. Ah,
Yeah.
Zorbas.
And what is it? Westcott? Did you ever go to Westcott?
Westcott Nation, man, Westcott is awesome. Not
Westcott, what had the movie theater there, and then
they still have
D'Agostino's.
what is it called?
D'Agostino's.
Not there anymore, but What they, or maybe it is there. It may be something else. Maybe it's probably still there actually, but the Westcott Theater doesn't show movies anymore, or it's more of a center, so they do mostly concerts up
Okay.
there. But you know when you need to come back and visit? Well, there's a couple of things. Come back in September.
Well, CBT?
Yeah, you need to come up for that.
Yeah. I mean, I've missed it, and like I missed the our 20-year one, which I regret. But I definitely need to come back at some point.
Come back and visit us, Satie. We would like to see you. And are there ways that people here in the Q's can support your documentary that you're putting together?
Well, I mean, we haven't created any social media for it. I mean, I guess that's in progress because we're still raising funds, but you know, it's easy to find me on social media. It's just my first and last name on Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
Well, listen, we wish you luck with that project and any other project. And we love hearing your talk about your dad. Anything you want us to know that we haven't asked you about, that you haven't been asked about, as it relates to the legacy of Louis Gossett Jr.
Um, right now, I mean, because we're still just in the process of, you know, tying up his affairs, and we still got the celebration of life coming up at the end of May, and but you know, as the dust settles, you know, I kind of find that, you know, he laid the table for people like myself and others to move forward with the lessons that he learned.
Mm.
And he's with the ancestors, so he's not here in physical form, but he's with us. His legacy is forever on TV and film. So he ain't really gone anywhere.
No. And you, isn't that something, and always you can always tap into him, at least in the performative sense, but it's a memory you always have. And
Yeah.
and behind the curtain as well. And
Yeah.
behind the curtain as well. Well, Satie, thank you so much for spending some time and sharing the legacy of Louis Gossett Jr. Good luck with the documentary, and we'll see you back here in the Q's real soon, okay?
Right on. Are you living in Hughes now?
I do. I do.
Are you in the South Campus? No, I'm just
I
kidding.
did live on South Campus at one point. I lived on Winding Ridge.
Winding Ridge. Wow. See, they stuck me up in Day Hall my
Day
freshman
Hall.
year.
Okay.
I asked for Brewster Bowling too, and they put me in Day Hall. I was mad. I'm like, okay, all right.
You were
That's
on the Mount Olympus. Did you stay
I,
up there the whole
I
time?
stayed there my freshman year, and then after that, I stayed in other places on campus.
Okay.
But my freshman year, they put me up there with those
You never
stairs.
made it to B&B, huh?
No, when I visited the school, they put me in B&B, and I was like, oh, this is dope. You know, this is apartment. So they put me in Day Hall. I'm like, oh man, what are y'all trying to do? But you know, it was all right.
So get this. When I was a freshman, Brewster Bowling was new. Just so you know.
Was what?
New.
Wow.
Now I
Wow.
don't know how long it had been, but it was like the newest of the dorms.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, well, Satie Gossett, thank you so much for being on the show. And
Where can the interview be seen? So if I need to post it on social media,
we're gonna it's gonna be on. First of all, it's gonna be on the radio, Power 620, and we'll also have you on YouTube. We'll send you the links, and we'll share it, and it'll be also available on wherever you get your podcasts. So widely available.
wonderful.
Inspiration for the nation. Satie Gossett, thank you so much.
Take care. Go Qs.
Go Q.